Take 42. Let's get into it. Okay, biology around wedding by me. Sorry if I'm speaking fast, but this is my normal voice, as you can probably tell compared to my other one where I was speaking really fast. From a young age, Ron Wedding was a thrill seeker. He has always lived a high risk lifestyle. He would often trespass on neighbors' property. His grandfather taught him to drive before he could reach the pedals, which is very whatever. He started snowboarding at age 12 and even won his first race. From there, he got onto a team that represented Canada. He would go home and sleep reasonable to bedtime, while his peers went out drinking, proving that he was surrounded by high risk individuals for youth his age. I would like to add, because most people aren't around those types of people who are probably making lots of inappropriate jokes, and there's a different culture. Uh, at 15, he made the Canadian national team. He started becoming obsessed with winning. He became egotistical and even started becoming resentful of people who were better than him, either in any way aspect. He even started taking steroids as an adult because he hated how much some of the gym bros were when he grew up. Suddenly, he placed only 24th in the 2002 qualifying Olympics. He seemed to give up shortly after, as if he couldn't handle not being the best for once. He even was dating five separate girls, all believing he was exclusive with them before and during prison. He became the epitome of toxic masculinity, resented others for his own shortcomings. Displacement, just like to add that in there. He started growing and dealing drugs, living lavishly off it. Eventually, it wasn't enough, and he graduated to exporting massive amounts of cocaine. Of course, he was caught and was sent to prison for 4 years. He seemed to find prison fun, if anything. He bragged a lot about the cartel members that he got into contact with and how they taught him about the drug trade, which the FBI knew about, but they still let him out anyways. Uh, he managed to get his sentence knocked down by not lying to the judge. What I did, he said to the judge, what I did was completely out of character for me and his personal mission of mine to rebuild my reputation, resulting in the judge from lowering his sentence from 80 to 48 months. And in all fairness, he actually did rebuild his reputation from a mid-level drug dealer to a self-identified drug lord, which became accurate later. As stated from previously, from a young age, he was an adrenaline junkie, or more accurately, a sensation seeker. High sensation seekers have high levels of cortisol. Cortisol helps you perceive a threat and make an appropriate reaction to the threat. Ryan Whitting could have high cortisol levels to the point where he confuses other people who are of no threat to him as a threat, and vice versa. So, for example, the gym bros were no threat to him, right? They just looked better in his mind. So that was him perceiving that as a threat. Meanwhile, personally, if I were him, I would be more concerned about the cartel. Because they would probably backstab me first chance they got if I was a drug dealer, right? Um, but he had no fear about that. He was stoked to be talking to them. Like, no thought for, like, what do you call it? Self preservation or anything. He was just like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever, like a kid. Um, he broke into houses and he became a career criminal because he wasn't capable of taking consequences of his actions because they didn't scare him, and also because it released high levels of dopamine that he normally couldn't get, which made these behaviors more appealing. Thanks to what we learned about neurotransmitter of class, high levels of dopamine equals higher levels of aggression. So when he got that dopamine, he became more aggressive, and he kept doing that to get more dopamine, which made him more aggressive as a person. Um, Lack of avoidance learning. Well, either he wasn't taught by his parents not to, but either way, he still continued to do things even though he shouldn't have. I couldn't find if they punished him in any way for breaking into his neighbors' houses, but he kept doing it. So he didn't learn even when after the prison he didn't learn obviously no avoidance learning at all. Yeah, like it's awful. The only way he avoided is how to get away with it better, maybe? Like how to hide from them for 10 years. The FBI, I mean. Um Another interesting thing was instead of making nice like most criminals when he was strip searched, he called the officer FAGGOT, but they both did nothing, but which is odd. But it makes me think if he had a even lower ANS than most career criminals, which is very interesting. He could very well be a psychopath, as they have shown to know a lot of these things that he's doing. Even Bobby Allison, a former Olympian himself, said he had no fear, which is another thing great that we're going back to. He had psychopaths. He also had chronic overarousal, which he only had because he needed to not. It's confusing because high ANS equals high overarousal. However, he had a high overarousal specifically because he needed to have more relationships of the sexual nature with more people to get the same amount of satisfaction that we did. or that normal people would, right? Which is why he can have 5 and I can't handle 1. Um, criminal is a criminal for many reasons. Hyper overarousal, as we just talked about. 5 girlfriends, not being able to get the same amount of dopamine or whatever sexual release, gratification, whatever you want to call it, as much as one person, which would probably help if he was in a one pump chump, if I'm being honest. Sorry about that. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Again, this is my 40-second retake. Deficit in avoidance learning. Yeah, he never learned anything. He still hasn't. He's pleaded innocent as of recently, despite being a hardened drug lord, which is very interesting. So yeah, deficit in avoidance learning. He doesn't learn anything, not from a kid, not as an adult, not. I don't think he's ever gonna learn. Which also goes to behavioral rigidity, complete unwillingness to change. He doesn't want to change. He doesn't want to learn, which kind of goes in with that, right? He doesn't. He had the opportunity. He said that I want to change, but no, he just wanted to change for the worse, not the better. High levels of dopamine. Yeah, he's a very aggressive person. All this activity of crime he does makes him more aggressive because that's how he gets his dopamine. Under responsive ANS, yeah, that's kind of everything up above. And lack of fear and poor self control. Lack of fear, I feel, is self explanatory, as we've already talked a lot about it, but poor self control. He can't stop himself from doing these things. It's like a need that he has. Like, if he didn't have it, something bad would happen. I don't know. But you know what I mean? He couldn't stop himself from breaking into his neighbor's things, just like he can't stop himself from selling drugs. Evidence, so weaknesses of this topic. The biggest weakness is that we can't exactly prove it, as it's all due to biology, and we could probably be like, yeah, so he experiences some traits that align with biology, but we can't really prove it for sure. You know, it's just kind of speculation at this point. The only way we could really prove even some of it, like the maybe the brain stuff, right? We could cut open his brain, but we got to do that when he dies, which could be like another 40 to 50 years. Um, so, in conclusion, he grew a huge ego from a young age, and it didn't help that all he cared about was winning, making him strive to be better than everyone else. He doesn't even have him being a drug dealer. His family didn't help him with this upbringing, exposing him to the question, these things, and even begs the question: is it genetic or even learned behavior? I wonder if his parents are criminals. Didn't go into much detail about that. Ryan Wedding was a criminal. Perhaps he could blame it on his biology, but that would take away the accountability he should have. Again, he may even be a psychopath, but that's a whole nother discussion. And that is the end. This is the references. I tried to go over as much as I could in the time. I even deleted a whole slide, so I hope that's okay. I have 7 seconds left. I tried my best. I added slides. I took out slides, so please enjoy. I hope it's a good mark.